What is up, family? So today what we're going to talk about is how you can have a winning webinar presentation. So the reason why I wanted to record this is because a lot of us are doing webinar presentations and we're not seeing the results, right? And one big thing to break down is that a webinar presentation is not just about you showing up, talking to people, and expecting people to purchase. A webinar presentation is literally has sales psychology in it that we're about to break down in this. And this should be monumental if you're not already doing this. And you should see a complete uptick in your webinar if you're not doing this already, because you have to have sales psychology. A lot of coaches get in the game and think that they can literally just do, but not understand the psychology behind it. And that's what I want to teach you guys today on how to sell, because you're getting people in the room by running traffic, but you're not putting those people into a presentation that makes them say, that's me, this is the solution to my problem. And that's why you're not getting the conversion that you get. So we're going to talk about KPIs. We're going to talk about metrics. And then we're going to talk about mainly in this, the secrets 1, 2, and 3 and their purpose, right? So one thing in a webinar is what you don't want to do is over-educate. Step number one, failure number one, actually, excuse me. If you over-educate, you'll start seeing people at the end of the webinar saying, amazing job. This was so great. I'm going to go back and think about this. I loved your webinar. It's not the right time for me. Jason Fladlin always says to inform, to transform. And I'm going to put the podcast down below for you guys to look at as well. But you want to inform to transform. You don't do any due diligence by thinking that you're going to be able to educate somebody on your expertise within 30 minutes to an hour time. So you do better to inform to transform, to get them to say, hey, I think this is for me. You've broken down all the limiting beliefs, from showing me the vehicle, the internal beliefs, the external beliefs, to where I could do this and showing testimonials. So let's get into it, guys. So introducing you guys to the winning webinar presentations. We know that webinars, of course, are a powerful tool, right? For connecting with the audience. They're great for like Jason Fladlin, who's a webinar coach. He has a book called One to Many. You can sell one to many versus doing one-on-one book calls. It helps you share valuable information to help people achieve their goals. So in this document, my goal is to explore the secrets to creating an impactful webinar presentation so that you can captivate your audience and help you achieve those goals. So let's get it. The first thing, guys, is understanding the secrets, right? So I'm a big fan of Russell Brunson's books. I've read all of them. But the first thing, guys, is when you get to a webinar, a lot of people are just teaching, but you have to understand that the secret one is the vehicle. Secret 2 is the internal belief. Secret number 3 is the external. We're going to break all that down. But starting out with the vehicle, you want to explain to your audience that, hey, no matter what you've been doing, it's not your fault of what you've been doing wrong and why you haven't seen success. You most likely have just not been in the right vehicle, right? So secret number 1 focuses on the vehicle that your product or service provides and how it can solve your customer's problem. The challenge here is to create and change the customer's belief and convince them that your vehicle is not only different, but also superior to the options they may consider. So what do you mean by that, Tony? Well, what I mean by that is, let's say it was e-commerce, right? Hey guys, this is the route that you need to take to have more sales in e-commerce. And you've probably tried other things, other vehicles, such as drop shipping. You tried AliExpress, Alibaba, you tried print on demand, you tried all of these things, but they didn't work, and it's not your fault. You just didn't have the right vehicle. So it's not that the industry doesn't work, it's that you were not in the right vehicle. Let's switch that to a fitness trainer. Hey, what I'm saying? You should be, eating on this nutrition plan. And you probably think that meal plans don't work, but it's because you weren't doing the right vehicle. You may have thought keto worked or intermittent fasting or trying this, and they never gave you results. But the thing is, you didn't understand that it's all about portions. You can eat whatever you want, but it's all about having your portion to fit in a fist or a palm and not overeating. So as long as you're providing nutrition and following this meal plan that I'm going to be telling you guys about later today, then you will see results. So it's not that your intentions were wrong. You just didn't have the right vehicle. So that was a live example, guys, of what we should be telling our customers to show them that your vehicle and what you sell in your program, course, service is the vehicle to get them to that solution. So To go back to the presentation, in order to achieve this, guys, the marketing should address any preconceived notions or skepticism that your customer might have about your product or service. So what we got to think, this is all psychology. So as people are in your presentation, they're thinking of reasons why they don't need this, why this doesn't make sense for them. And it's your job to demonstrate that that vehicle is the best solution to solve their problem. So let's think about this. If something is wrong in your house, right, or with your car, you're going to take it to the car repairman, Firestone, Goodyear, whatever it is, because they've provided trust to you that they can solve that problem for you and be the solution. Selling is not difficult. It's fixing pain points, providing solutions to problems. So when you present in a way that's easy for them to understand you and relate to you, this is what gets you that sale. This is what gets you them to say yes. And also, as you're going through presentations, guys, side note, get as many yeses as possible. So when you're speaking about the vehicle, hey guys, I know that you tried this before and this before and that didn't work. It's not your fault. You just weren't in the right vehicle. You need to be trying this, this, and this in order to get to there. Does that make sense? Give me a yes. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, perfect. As you're getting more yeses, you probably just nodded your head yes. You're getting more affirmations to make them agree to why they need your product. So this can be done through messaging, relatable case studies, and clear value propositions. So for secret number one, the key elements is to address the customer skepticism. 2, demonstrate your vehicle's superiority. And 3, use compelling messaging case studies. So as we go through these 3 secrets, you need to have a testimonial for each secret. And it doesn't have to be a video. It can be a vehicle. So when we say this could be done through messaging, whatever it is, what you want to do is say, address that they were in the wrong vehicle and it's not the industry that you're teaching about, but this is the right vehicle that you need to be in to get success. Let me show you Ryan. Ryan is somebody that literally was in this same predicament, guys. He was trying to lose weight by doing keto and vegan and this and, drinking the shakes, but really what it was, he didn't know how to portion his food, guys, and he didn't know how to get the right nutrients and protein makeup to lose the weight and build muscle. But once he joined the Elite Warriors Way program, he started seeing instant results within 30 days. By 60 days, he started seeing a couple rips, and by 90 days, this guy was shredded. You need somebody in the presentation, guys, to say, I'm Ryan. That's me. So that's what you would use for secret number one. Secret number 2, we're going to tear down internal beliefs. So now they believe, guys, that, hey, you're right, I was doing it wrong, but I don't believe that I've got the discipline. I don't believe that I can get this done. So what you want to do is that secret number 2 involves internal beliefs of the customer. They're typically personal doubts, guys, insecurities, insecurities that they have about themselves and their ability to succeed with the vehicle that you're offering. So even if you believe or they believe that the product or service works, they may not believe that their own capacity, that they're capable of using this effectively to see the results. So let's hit a pause right there. All right. I see the issue that I was having. I see that your situation is the exact reason and what I need to be doing to get there. But I wake up late. I suck at being disciplined. I need help. I need somebody to walk me through this. Like, how can I get this done? So you want to address how your program can solve the internal beliefs so that they can knock that one down, right? You want to address those internal beliefs, and your marketing needs to reassure them that, hey, this product or service that I'm going to be selling you at the end of this presentation will solve this. You don't have to worry about if you can't do it, or if you don't think that you can get the job, show up on time, be disciplined, whatever it is, go through the course. Your program needs to have a solution to fill that hole. So testimonials, case studies, and other forms of social proof can help build trust and confidence in your offering. So this is where you would present another testimonial. So secret number 1 for the vehicle, we'll use Ryan. So then let me show you Amy, guys. So Amy was somebody that understood, just like Ryan, that she was in the wrong vehicle. But what she understood, she said she works at a restaurant. She doesn't understand how she can be able to keep up with losing weight because the restaurant is always cooking food. And she felt like, she just has to be indulged in it because she's around it. And she didn't think that she was strong enough or had the willpower to stay on her nutritional plan. So what we told her is, in this program that we have, right, tearing down that secret number 2, the good thing about this Elite Warriors Way is it comes with daily accountability. which is, messages and text messages. And it also has community that keeps you going. And anytime you're feeling off track, you can shoot a message to the community and get a response back to keep you going, right? So now Amy's like, well, at least they're going to have this community that's going to help me, so I don't even have to worry about that tempting belief anymore. So you want to use a testimonial again to tear down the internal belief so that they understand that that's not going to be a prohibit for them to buy it. Because once they build the trust up, guys, they're thinking of ways to get out of this purchase and why they don't need to buy it. And they're having self-doubts, internal, externally, that you need to tear down. So encouragement and education are also important to empower your audience and help them overcome their doubts. So the key elements to secret number 2 is reassure your customers that they have the ability to succeed, provide testimonials, offer encouragement and education on this, address those common objections, and then create a supportive community. So that was secret number 2. Secret number 1 was a vehicle. Secret number 2, internal beliefs. Now let's break down in this document external beliefs, right? So now secret number 3, you got them nodding their head. They're like, yeah. So I forgot to do it. But did secret number 2 make sense? Huh? Are you seeing the things that you need to do in your presentation? Nod yes if that makes sense. You got it? Okay, perfect. Let's move to secret number 3. Tonality is also important too, guys. If you hear how I'm powering the conversation so that I can sound that as if I'm confident, and you need to sound confident in your presentation. That was a sidebar. So let's get to secret number 3, external beliefs. This secret addresses the external objections or concerns that potential customers may have. These are usually more practical or logistical reservations about using your product or service. So all the external things like, well, I've got kids, you know what I'm saying? Or, well, I work too much. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get this done. You need to be able to tear that one down, because this one is probably, after they trust you with secret number 1 and 2, the next biggest thing and biggest thing to why they think they can't do it, because they're thinking of everything outside of them that's holding them back. So to go back to document, external beliefs may include doubts about factors such as price, time, how easy is it, relatability, can I use this, can I afford this? And essentially, these are concerns that exist outside of the individual's personal doubts, which we just addressed in secret number 2, right? Remember that? Nod your head if you remember that. Cool. And these things revolve more around external circumstances or influences. So, like I said, guys, I don't know. I got rant. I mean, this sounds awesome, Tony, but man, I just don't know if I pay for this, am I going to see a return? My wife, I got to go ask my wife, see if she's cool with it. All these external things. So you want to make sure that you can effectively address these external beliefs. So your marketing needs to provide assurance, offer guarantees, show proof, display customer testimonials. Remember, keep laying the testimonials on. But sometimes, guys, the guarantees are great. Hey, if you get in our program and then, you notice in this weight loss program that you're not seeing the benefit, if you feel like we're not being accountable to you, if we're not checking in with you, you don't have access to the community, you know what? We'll work with you for an extra 3 months just to make sure you hit your goal. It doesn't always have to be a refund, if that's what you're thinking about. 2, you want to clarify the value. Demonstrate clearly why your product or service is worth the investment and how this cost is justified, right? So let's say, for instance, with my funnel packages, you may be saying, oh, they're expensive, Tony. Of course they're expensive. You want to make a lot of money with my funnel packages. So you need the best funnel packages and systems possible. You don't want the cheap one. You want the one that works. You guys probably already have a funnel that's not good. If you've got a funnel that you got from Fiverr or someone that doesn't really work well, nod your head yes. That is the things that I'm talking about, right? External beliefs. Knock those things down. Hit the objections that they're thinking. I know it's an expensive thing, right? But you need that attention. You need that service. That's why it costs this way. We want to make sure when you sign up with BizLaunch.io, you get the most exceptional service possible. You get the best funnel possible. When you reach out to somebody, you get a response within a couple of hours, not 24 to 40 hours, you get in a couple of hours. We want to make sure that you're heard. But what does that take? That takes staff. It takes a good staff, A players. That's why it costs a lot. You're trying to get there faster. You're not trying to redo this. That's like buying crappy furniture. You got to buy it twice, right? So you need to hit those objections, just like I just did right there. So let's talk about number 3, and secret number 3 is reducing risk, right? So you want to implement strong return policies if that's okay with you, possibly free trials, demos, or money back guarantees to lower the perceived risk. They're always thinking, what if it doesn't work? What if I lose my money? What if I don't do this? Address that objection and reduce the risk so that you can handle that. So by effectively addressing these external beliefs, guys, through your marketing efforts, your communication, you can help break down those last barriers to create that sale. And I guarantee you guys, with all of my clients, we coach them on this. If you break these three things down, you will see success. You will see a much higher conversion rate versus just telling people about what you do, telling them about how you went to high school and how you did this and how you did that. Don't talk about you. You're providing solutions. Remember that. Hope you're taking notes. Does this make sense, guys? Say yes. Does this make sense? Secret number one, secret number two, secret number three. Does it make sense? Nod your head yes. Perfect. Okay. So, by breaking down these barriers, guys, it does make it easier for customers to justify their purchase, not only to themselves, but also to other people who might influence their decisions, wife, husband, other family members, colleagues. But the approach ensures that the potential customer, feels secure in their choice, leading to a higher conversion rate, fostering a longer term with customers. So, as I talked about, guys, that was secret 1, 2, and 3. I know that made a lot of sense for you guys right there. The next one is engaging your audience. So like I've been doing in this presentation the whole time by asking you to nod your head yes and getting those affirmations and getting those yeses, that is extremely important, guys, because when you're going through your presentation, you got to think, people are not here just to owe you something, right? They're here because they had a problem. They saw your ad. It seemed like it could solve the problem. So they clicked it and they're there for information, right? So you want to make sure that you keep your audience engaged throughout your entire presentation. Because if you become boring, if you become repetitive, monotone, then you're going to start seeing that webinar number fall down, right? So you want to make sure that you keep your audience engaged throughout the whole webinar, which is a crucial part for maintaining attention and ensuring that the message is effectively communicated. So we talked about secret 1, secret 2, secret 3, and by getting those yeses and getting those nods, that's one way to keep them engaged, but also to just like ask them to light up the chat. So if you've been in big webinars before, you may see them all the time saying, drop a fire flame if that makes sense. Drop a yes if that makes sense. So it's a mixture of engagement through the keyboard, engagement through them saying yes, engagement through them nodding your head. Does all of that make sense? If so, nod your head. Let me get one. Okay, appreciate it. So this can be achieved through a variety of techniques that I just mentioned, right? Such as the interactive elements, asking questions, and, encouraging that participation, because you want to wake them up, especially if you're doing those hour-long presentations, right? And that's another side note as well. When you're going through your presentation, you want to make sure that you're not pitching at like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So you may ask me why, Tony. So think about this. You have the most people in your webinar towards the beginning. And of course, you want to hook them and tell them like, hey, and at the end of this is where I hope you could be. Or at the end of the webinar, we'll be giving away X, Y, and Z. Maybe it's a cash prize. Who knows what it is. But you want to make sure that you get your offer released within 45 minutes to an hour max on a live webinar. And if it's an auto webinar, I would say at 30 minutes max. Doesn't mean that you have to end your webinar. You can keep selling, keep posting testimonies, but those are the things that need to occur to make sure that you have a great presentation. So let's talk about those interactive elements again. So on some webinars, you can do surveys, quizzes, polls, and you can literally drop these if you're using programs such as Webinar Jam, Webinar Geek, to literally just get your audience to wake back up and click a button. Or like I said, you can literally have audience participation by asking them to put ones, fire flames, or whatever is in the chat, and then also asking questions that don't really need an answer in the chat. Or you can say, put in the chat, like if this makes sense or what you would say to this. But these are just different ways to keep your audience engaged. So let's talk about now crafting compelling content for your webinar. So in your presentation, like I said, you want to stay away from talking about yourself so much. That's a main issue that I see a lot of people make in their webinar is they start out with welcoming their audience, and then they go on to just talk about themselves. And then next thing you know, that audience gets bored. So the content for your webinar presentation, of course, is the foundation of your message. It needs to carefully be crafted to resonate with your audience, guys. Because remember, you're selling, you're not just talking to people. So this involves identifying pain points, always addressing those specific needs. Because what did I say earlier? You're always providing solutions to problems and providing valuable and actionable information that helps solve their problems. If that makes sense, give me a yes. All right, cool. One effective strategy is to break down these complex topics into like digestible, easy to understand chunks. So when you're doing a presentation, the way I have this document right now, I wouldn't do this in a presentation where I just have a bunch of text on there. You want to make sure you're either like, creating those waterfalls where it's like, let's say if you got 9 bullets on a points, break that down into 9 slides so that it's easy to understand versus just throwing a bunch of text at somebody. Also, try not to use so much text on the slides, but use like real world examples, illustrations like you would see in Russell Brunson's post, and pictures. And I can show you guys like some examples of that like down here in the downloadable section. So this not only makes the content more engaging, guys, but it helps keep your audience to see practical applications that they can relate to themselves. They say, that makes sense. That's the solution that I need. And this is what I see a lot of when I study like Russell Brunson slides and then like some of my other friends as well. So to recap this part right here, what did we talk about? We talked about identifying pain points, right? So we want to make sure that you take the time to like deeply understand the challenges and the pain points of your audience so that you can show that your vehicle and the program that you're selling addresses those, and that's the solution that's there. You want to make sure that you provide value, so offer practical, actionable information and strategies that your audience can immediately use. So they're like, hey, this really makes sense. This guy, this woman, she really knows what she's talking about. And like I said, keep laying on the testimonials by using relatable examples, because the goal is to have someone in your class say, hey, that's me. I can achieve that, right? And to kind of like piggyback off of that, we want to make sure that you're like leveraging those visual aids by like just having more pictures that illustrate the exact key messages that you're talking about. So I'm not going to stay on this slide too long, but for instance, when you're showing, like, let's go back to the fitness example, right? When you're showing the different nutrition plans from like keto to vegan to that, they don't have to be words. You can literally show pictures. When you're showing testimonials and you're talking about a story, you don't have to write out the whole story. You can show the before and after picture of the example, like what we're using for this fitness person. So make sure you do that. And then literally it creates more engaging slides versus people feeling like they're in school. So in conclusion, like, let's wrap up everything that we just talked about in this module right here. So we talked about crafting a winning webinar presentation, right? That requires a strategic approach, because most people right now, you feel like you're showing up to the webinar and I'm just going to tell them a story and tell them about my product and they should buy it. But we need to remember that we need to have an engaging storytelling within our whole presentation, compelling content, and the effective visual aids that illustrate the words that we're saying and not so much text heavy, right? So who I study, Russell Brunson, we want to make sure we leverage Russell Brunson's secret framework, which was secret number 1, the vehicle, secret number 2, tearing down internal beliefs, and secret number 3, all the external beliefs that they think that they can't buy. This may be price, kids, relationships, work schedule, whatever that is. We want to make sure we tear all those 3 things down in our presentation, so somebody does not have a reason to say why they shouldn't be pulling their credit card out and purchasing your product at the end of the webinar. We want to make sure we focus on building personal connection with the audience, making sure that our message is captivating, the narrative is great. And then at the end, what we also want to do is we want to leverage scarcity and urgency, guys. So we want to say like, hey, I don't do this all the time. I really haven't had a webinar like this in a while, but for you guys, since you stuck around with me, since you've been here with me, we're going to give you guys this special offer right now that you're not going to find online, but you can get it right here for the next 20 minutes for you guys to buy. And to be honest, we really only have 7 of them. So it's either 20 minutes or the first 7 people. And it looks like there's 80 people in here right now. And this is just the capacity that we can manage. So the first 7 people are going to get this discount, and the offer is now available. So make sure you guys maximize the impact and effectiveness of your webinar presentations with like all the game that you just got from here. And remember, the ultimate goal of your webinar is to provide value, inspire your audience, and encourage them to take meaningful action, not to talk about your story, not to talk about how, this is how you first started, this is how it took. And a lot of people, like I said, they spend 40 minutes on them. It's not about you. It's about providing the solution to the problem. So My goal for you guys is by following the strategies that was outlined in this guide, that you'll be well on your way to increase your current conversion that you probably have on your webinar right now. You may have not seen, the sales that you want, and it's probably because you don't have, this psychology that I've just gone through right here. And I promise you guys, if you implement this right here, you'll instantly start seeing success. So you want to make sure you connect, captivate, and inspire your audience. And I will see you guys in the next lesson. Peace.